Welcome to my series of videos of all my automotive projects. The first video will be of this 1955 F100 custom cab short bed pickup truck. This is my 1955 Ford F100 pickup truck, custom cab and short bed. And for all you Ford people out there, you'll know that this truck had to be a short bed because that's all they sold in 1955 for the F100. Now originally this truck was fully loaded, like I said, custom cab. It had the best engine and the best transmission you could get. Inside is nothing special by today's standards, but back then it was something else. It didn't have seat belts, which now it does, because seat belts in 1955, they weren't even an option. I don't know what they were thinking, but you know, seat belts weren't important back then. But something that was optional, turn signals, they were optional. This truck didn't have that option. The little indicators in the dash, they just put tape over the back of them, and you stuck your arm out the window to make the turn signal. But of course, I installed turn signals because that's very important. Also, I replaced the dash panel with a little bit more modern style and some better gauges in there. It has a tachometer and a voltage gauge, two of the gauges it didn't originally have. It also has fuel and temperature, which it did originally have. If we move around here to the front of the vehicle, all you Ford people will know that this is a Y-block engine. The camera can come up here a little bit. This is a Y-block engine. This engine was not the original engine. The original engine, all the Ford people again will know that the engine originally in this truck, if it was the highest level engine, was a 239 V8 overhead valve engine. The first overhead valve engine to be made by Ford. However, when I got this truck had a 272 block in it, and I went ahead and decided to use the 272 block and rebuild it due to the fact that the 239 motor, even though I like to keep things original and would have gone back with a 239, is that the 239 motor had some oil ports in it that sometimes weren't even lined up, so you'd have two ports going like this, and a little bit of oil would be coming through. And the ports weren't even the right size to begin with, so a lot of head lubrication problems, and engines burning up left and right. And the oil pump. They had a hose going to the oil pump, and then they had a filter, and not all the oil that went through the oil pump got filtered, only like a little tiny piece of it. A little hose went to the oil filter, and then it got filtered partially, so some of the oil in the engine never went through the filter, and so then it got clogged up, especially with the oil quality in 1955. Now, of course, this engine has a screw-on oil filter. It's been converted to the non-original, type that's much easier to work on and cleans the engine better. Now, this carburetor is, of course, not the original carburetor. It's an Edelbrock 500 CFN 4-barrel. It has a aluminum intake manifold mounted below it. It's also an E85 carburetor. This carburetor has bigger jets and metering rods so that it can deliver more fuel. More fuel is necessary when you're running E85 because E85 has a lower energy content, so you need more of it to make the same bang that you could with less gasoline. But down here in Houston, Texas, ethanol is cheaper, so you can use more of it, but it's a cheaper price. So overall, you wind up saving money. And that was the idea. This thing burns a lot of fuel, so you need to save money. And I need to save money when I'm filling it up. This radiator is a one-of-a-kind radiator. It was rebuilt by a local business owner that happened to be the same person that back in the day sold the idea of this particular folding seam right here along the edge, sold that idea of that particular seam to Ford. That particular seam design is so that it won't leak. The original design was just two pieces of metal soldered together, and of course it busted left and right, and Ford had trouble with that, and our radiator, like a bunch of others, busted it in half. And we had the person, we happen to know him, redo it just the way he sold the idea to Ford. So this is a one-of-a-kind, unique radiator that you cannot get. exactly the way it is right here. I believe that is everything that is interesting about this truck. There's some other facts about it that a lot of people wouldn't want to know. But if you have any questions or want to know some of those facts, or you're rebuilding your own 55 or 54 or any truck from this era, drop me a comment or send me a message, and I'll be happy to answer those questions to the best of my ability. Y'all have a good day.